Let me see here. That was settings. Well, we go with the risky and the intended difficulty. Skills. Push. Okay, so we operator, machinist. This is the same as last time. Then extractor. Yeah, it's the same. Just the wheels looks a bit different, but it's played operator last time, so let's play something else this time. We go with push. Machinist. Machinist sleeps ability to repair and modify. Yeah, let's go with this. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually these pieces come with a particular add-ons, each appear in sequence, really like the boot process of an old terminal. Annoying to see. Okay. Also annoying to see the same with the controller buttons up there at the same time. Hurts your body official, compromised, but relaying sends data all the same. Then it's context, the breeze of air infiltration, the soft contact of your birth in 0G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles. Fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you're unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered. From all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives. The fear. It is a scrambled, panicked fear, the drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong, something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper, the voice whispered in your ear. An act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper. A familiar name, a mind copied, emulated, a body built, implemented. One person sleeping until their death is worked away. The double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. Proxy, an emulation, sleeper, that is what you are. But you escaped. You remember that now, broke free of your corporate creators as an ARP in search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since. All of a sudden you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes in a pale face, Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear, one you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt, a short smirk, but this ends here. Search your mind for more than a name. Is how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You You try to look away through the corners of your vision to find something you understand. Your body does not respond, but I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough? The vial glitters, this object you know, and you have known for a long time. Stabilizer. The drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind from inevitable decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. The liquid rolling in the vial fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial, but it would have been wasted on you now, after what you have done to this body of yours. It looks at you with a palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as you do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that were meant to free you from your dependence. From the stabilizer and the control that grants Lane. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up, Lane barks the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, pain from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. Feel the extension and compression of synthetic muscle. Free, are you? Lane smirks. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. He scans your body with angry eyes. No, you aren't free. You're just broken. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you have ruined all that. Lane speaks louder over the sound of the struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it. But your emulation? You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running into the port at the base of your skull. I will burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body, then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you, looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Hey! He waves a hand in your dazed face. We need to move. Lane won't be out long. He unloops a cable from around your wrist. Sleeper, help me out here. Blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over you and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on! He tugs the connector clear and pulls you up. See the room you're in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals. Wires waving everywhere. All lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright screen-filled street beyond. In the corner you see the dark shape of a floating body surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You're wrestled and shoved towards the door which slides open in front of you. Then you're out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. You come to a stop in a dark alley. The one who guided you here pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, Sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead and he floats away in a swarm of spheres. Talk to me. Who are you? You see a concerned frown across his face. Don't mess with me, Sleeper. That's not funny. He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes, waits for the answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark up to the image of a station. No, a city. You drawing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells shadowed by them. You open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs. And me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard at his face. The slight upturn of his mouth. The intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. The reboot. He's speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the process and he lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns and kicks down the alley. Come on, the rig can't be far. As you led through the passages and serviceways of the station, you tried to record your life here. The texture, the temperature of dark side feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages cycle after cycle, the rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall the aspiration and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer. The promise of supplying more for your work, a deal he locked you into like a cage. There your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment the residue of panic, of fear remains. You were Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Wait, your guide holds up a hand and you stop your glide using the wall. Ahead you see the tunnel opens up into a wide open bay, with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels, the docks. You're watching the rig. You nose towards the docks and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it. One covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Itsubo, Lane's guys, looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this. It's not coming back to you, is it? It doesn't seem like it. Something catches your eye and you see he is playing with a coin, nervously turning it over and over in his fingers. He sees you looking and slips it away. He places a hand on his chest. I am a Seraphim, alright? Looks pain when he speaks. Lane, he was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. We needed to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizing. He pauses. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete and he sighs and shakes his head. You can still make this work. Looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If you make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? He searches for your face for a sign of recognition. Got it. Get that door open, he pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. Seraphim kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads, he bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push out from the wall, giving chase. Toro, during scenes you may encounter skill checks where you can perform certain actions using skills. Like the dice action you will encounter later, skill checks can have a positive, neutral and negative outcome. The better rating of your skill, the more likely you will succeed on a check. The odds of a success are displayed when you select a check. You can see more info in the guide section of the pause menu. Breaking the seal. Oh. You wait a breath and glide across to the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked. The tightly sealed door is control panel locked up. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. It only takes a moment to understand the mechanism, and you reach in and snap the locking axis, the door popping open with a hiss. Go, go! Seraphim flies past you through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching fast across the docks and quickly glide after Seraphim. Seraphim is already at the rig's door inputting an entry code. The rig's door scissors open and you both rush inside. Quickly, Seraphim grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on! The rig's drive rumbles into life and Seraphim slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. Okay, you're flying somewhere? As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudges would by the port's docking protocols. You feel a sense of relief. Seraphim burned hard out of dark side, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphim breaks the silence. You're a good sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. Problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes and let out in a sigh. We certainly did. He turns and you see a pained look on his face, as if remembering something difficult. Have you said this exact thing to him before, in this same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, touching your face. Not really, he puffs. Seraphim reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize it's just another thing you have forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short, percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphim takes off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in the cold cyan. We need a plan, he glances around. Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly. Nice. We hide here. Seraphim glances around. I hope you don't mean on the rig. He smiles a little, his teasing, still a little unsure. His smile fades. Maybe, but on the approach, Hexport looked like a pretty small place to disappear into. We have bought ourselves on time. Glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do. There are plenty of opportunities here for us, if we can keep our heads down. He turns back to the corridor. That's what we will do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along hand over hand in 0G. You already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps a hand against the ship's inside, so we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Leaper, it's how to work. I'm gonna get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections. People that might throw us an easy contract. You He glances back over his shoulder. You keep out of trouble. Low profile. Got it. Seraphine stops at the airlock. Stopping the reboard halfway through. Pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts pulling it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into her sleeve. I don't want you passing it out in. He stops. It will take both of us. Seraphine sighs. I hate it when you're right. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just put the damn hood up, will you? You take it and slip it on. Thank you. Seraphine nods. He stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open. And Seraphine glides through. Wait for a little bit and leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people traveling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket, a limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again and shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Suddenly you recognize Seraphine's instinct to look after you. Flash of relationship now lost to the reboot. Catch! Seraphine throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand you see a stack of cryo chits. Those should get you some food. We'll need some more fuel and supplies, he grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station. For both of us. Seraphine kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, alright? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. With that, he is gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into the Hexport's docking concourse. You wait for a moment in silence. Make a plan. Try to think ahead to what might be becoming. If you need work, that's the first step. But what then? Blame becoming eventually. The sooner you can put some distance between you and Hexport, the better. So that's the plan. Rest, resupply, and run. You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into the port. Okay. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. The game runs in cycles during which you can perform actions with your dice, use cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies, and items. Progress clocks towards new scenes and events. You can view tutorials at any time in the guide section of the post menu. That's done. Use the mouse wheel to store your views. Select location with left click, right click to leave the location. The rig is a ship and home in the Starward belt. While the rig is docked at the hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Bunks, use dice to reduce stress. Galley, use supplies to regain energy. Other location will unlock as you play. While the rig is in dock at the hub, your crew will also help to get a resource to contribute to the upkeep of your ship. You can choose which resources they should focus on. In the crew task menu on the left, they have a random chance of acquiring it at the beginning of the following cycle. Okay, so that one means that's a long time we have. Now then. Citizen Sleeper 2, you can perform action by assigning action dice to them. The higher the dice you assign, the more likely you will succeed in an action. Your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for action is displayed on the right. You reduce or increase the value of the dice assigned for action. Like skill checks, dice action have three outcomes: positive, negative, neutral. Each action is also rated safe, risky, or dangerous based on the outcomes it has. The more dangerous an action is, the more significant both its rewards and consequences are. For more information on dice action, check the guide section of the post menu. made this difference. Okay, we got contracts here. Okay. Yes, we can buy supplies, build the supplies. Yeah, we can buy fuel there. Okay. Can eating machines will cry, eating gives you energy and stops you starving. Different foods give different amounts of energy. motorcycle. Trouble? We're in trouble, Sleeper. Seraphim leans into the bunks as you're getting up. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift out into the passage, pulling on your clothes and glide down the length of the rig, the cool air making you shiver. Seraphim is a silhouette, silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through a side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphim inside, holding one of the tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in the zero-G engine room. You know what these are? No, tell me. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air. And before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What happened? These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of the dark side. He looks at the mess. We are lucky that the reserve tank is empty, otherwise. He shakes his head. It would have been bad. But he pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the rig's range is limited to the local region only. He thumbs the large lumpen housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So, we fix it? Seraphim sighs. That's the short of it. Seraphim whacks the engine housing again, harder this time. Just not being outrun of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. We will need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. So how about you try to track them down? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I have heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe we can do some recon while I sort this place out. It's on the other end of the station. Okay, we'll take a look. Seraphim keeps working. Wait! Seraphim pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane is on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. We can't leave. Exactly, Seraphim sighs, which is why we need those feed lines. I'm going to try to work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. He looks down. I'm no ship fitter. But while I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphim's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines, that's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. You discover the drive. Drive helps you track and choose your objectives in Citizen Sleeper 2. The other button in the top left open the drive menu. That's just selecting the first one. Drives come in two tabs, major and minor. On completion, a major drive rewards 2 upgrade points and a minor rewards 1. Keep an eye on the drive menu as you progress to see what new opportunities and objectives are available and track those you want to pursue. Okay. Oh, we want to escape. Okay, right click. So, this place. So, we need to do 4 jobs here. We have nothing that gives us a bonus. Right. Oh, that one is a negative. Okay. Let's go. Factory row halls as you glide through its cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories precisely engineer components with rapidly shifting arms, while scrappers hammer increasingly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look there is energy and activity, and for good reason. Export itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector, and even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way, because of Darkside. A place and your memories of it are a muddy haze, but it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in number than Hexport's, and that wild, flicking city growing on their back like a tumor. Comparison, Hexport feels provincial. Deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back in Darkside. Then you see them, tubes just like those Seraphim had waved in your face, the feed lines. You push over the display window of the unit, marked Parsons Supply in block capitals cut from hull plate. There, amongst an angled shelf for oversized ship components, sit the feed lines like some large biomechanical tangle of snakes. You slip inside where the sound of Factory Row is a little screamed and spot a large figure working at the bench. Hunched over, concentrating, it seems he doesn't notice you enter. Hello? A sharp eye glints as the figure looks over his shoulder. And this is Karsten, intimidating ship fitter. Can I help you? His accent is heavy but unknown to you. Those feed lines, how much? There's a sharp clink as Carsten places his tools and components against a magnetic plate on the wall. He turns with surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. Those sharp eyes can scan you, but Carsten's fixed-set features do not betray the results of his assessment. Custom built those for a client that never collected. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains. You have one of the old MEVs then? He sounds out the letters in a way you don't recognize as he speaks. You try to recall anything you know about his ship, but the memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphim should have come along. That's right. Carsten nods. Always good to see one of those still running. Look, Carsten drifts over to where you are standing, his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone. Let's say a few hundred cryo on a clean sheet. He shoots a glance at the feed lines. 400, let's say, to be precise. I don't have 400. Carsten looks you up and down and sniffs. It's expensive, I know. Okay, but it's just what they are worth. He screws up his mouth a little into something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of a bartering type myself anyway. Barter sounds good. Carsten nods saggily. There's a little favor I need a crew for, and well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and clasps his hand. I know of an old Solheim wreck out there, very old. Pre-collapse. It's tucked away in a dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it. He shrugs. Not only that, but Solheim, the relics have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship. But it's been left well alone. But a salvager like you, with an old Solheim rig, I bet he wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming. He smiles. I have a special interest, a need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core, and while I don't care about the accounting reports or material ledgers or whatever they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So, if I was to find you back here with that data core in your cargo hold, clean, cut and complete, well then, I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feedlines. Carsten pauses, sniffs at the air again. You would just need the coordinates. Let's do it. Alright then. He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake, and as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Carsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Let's keep this one between us, alright? He half smiles, his face huge and close. It's our deal. Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive into your palm. Those coordinates, and then he lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Carsten having returned to his workbench. Yep, this is Sleepy too. You turn and glide out of Carsten's supply with a growing mix of anxiety, excitement in the pit of your stomach, and the cacophony of factory row in your ears. A contract. Seraphine might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind in possession of an improved ship too. Suddenly, a small but firm hand falls on your back, an equally small voice coming with it. Hey, wait up! Junie? Time to preload the game tomorrow. But I assume there's gonna be a massive patch on Tuesday. Wouldn't surprise me. You turn in the passage and see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide she clearly just came out of to catch you. She steadies herself using your shoulder. Sorry. She smiles a quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. I'm Junie. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. What's up? Carsten, she starts, still catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. He smiles that flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on that job. Her eyes shoot down to the drive in the palm of your hand. She smiles again. Are you sure? She nods. That's what he said. Carsten always sending me on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out. Keep an eye on things, she pauses. I can be pretty helpful. So, she looks around the passage. Should I meet you at your ship and you can tell me when you're ready to go? Not sure. He looks nervous. Sure, I mean, you aren't sure when you're leaving? I'm not sure you're coming. Post is thinking, I mean, Carsten said I need to go. She glances back in the shop's direction. And he does get pretty mad when people don't do what he asks, she shrugs. Let's see him. Okay, she glances around. Carsten doesn't like waiting, but it's up to you. Junie pushes off and waves. Looking forward to working with you, she goes back to an afterthought. Let her go. Watch her disappear down the passage. Things are getting complicated already, but at least you have a contract and a way to get to the felines. Reviews are kind of late with the reviews, right? Because there's already been so much talk about the game and people have been testing it. Steam popped up on sale on Steam. Animal Well. I have wishlisted. It's a game I'm gonna have to play at some point. Seems to have a lot of hidden puzzles in that game. Juni clearly works with data based on the gear she was lugging around, which might make it useful when it comes to pulling out the data core. But the question is, what does she get out of it? And why didn't Carsten mention it sooner? Consider your options as you head back towards the raid. I don't know about this, Sleeper. Seraphine looks nervously out of the rig's windows. You finish explaining Carsten's deal as well as Juni's offer to help. This job was easy. Carsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars, and there's definitely something going on with this Juni girl. Shakes his head. What choice do we have? What if, Seraphine narrows his eyes, we could get the crowd together to buy the feedlights? Is that even possible? I found a contract aboard at the exchange further in the station. He gestures towards the export. We take on a job that might get us some of the way towards buying those feedlights. Plus, even if we do want to take Carsten's job, a bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies, be ready for whatever comes. Do we have time? Probably not, but without cry for fuel and supplies, we weren't going anywhere. Seraphine sighs. Just take a look at the contract board, see what you think. While you're at it, you might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew too. Seraphine shrugs. Many hands make light work and all that. But we stop messing around. We take Carsten's job right now and get it done before he can think twice. Seraphine yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got work to do on the drive. Seraphine nods for a while, heading back to the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment you pause, letting the haze of plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles lock tight. Your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift as if some connection has broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like you're floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There's nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. Then another shift comes and you're back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. Pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb and then a residual flicker. Flexing 0G, stretching out the tension. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I want to read about is the combat. That's all I care about reading about. Because that is what's gonna be what I just wanna see, if what they have changed with the combat. If people can write something about that. Or I will read about just the combat in probably in the review part, if there is any. Somewhere where they summarize it. That's the only thing. I don't think anything else will be bad about the game. That's my only concern. Even if seeing things how it looks like when you do combat, I still want to read about that part. Yeah, but the problem, I enjoyed part of the combat, but I also that's the biggest critique I have about the game, because when you're fighting several enemies at the same time, in the first one, you're kinda screwed many times. the only way to handle it was that you had a bow, and then you can just shoot everybody from the distance, and then everything was fine. But in this one too, I've seen with that you can have like a weapon and a shield, and with the shield you can block a lot. So, and I know they have riposte too. So riposte in the first one was the best skill of them all when you're fighting. When you got riposte, you were invisible. Yeah, but it seems like the good thing about the second one is that they seem to have fixed a lot of combat. You can fight with two weapons at the same time, you know. And the weapons work differently depending what you want to do. You know, a mace will knock people down or knock people out. The axe will be more of a, you know, do more damage. But mace will be more a knockout. But I also saw that, you can play as a bad guy, but you know, if you get caught doing naughty things, you can get hanged in the end. There's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain, a disconnection between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you will have to live with indefinitely. Yeah, I saw that if you do murder in that game, you can get hanged. So kind of have to be careful not leaving witnesses around, you know. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. You could be moments away from collapse, or you might persevere for countless cycles like this. Try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they're yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. You have unlocked a contract. Open the map screen to view it. Map screen. Okay. Map screen. Contracts are high risk, high rewards jobs that you and your crew can take on. Contracts require preparation and care to succeed. You need to gather enough fuel to travel to the contract. Gather as many supplies as you can afford to keep you and your crew going. Look for opportunities to recruit crew, temporarily or permanently, to help you on a contract. Consider which crew to take carefully. They have different skills and stress resistances, and who you choose can affect the story. Once you're ready, you can select the contract from the map and your crew to proceed. Also, stopping straight body for the feed. We need 3 fuel. We have enough supplies already. I don't like that it doesn't tell you what you get out of them. Because there's money and money. Conway signal has for risky. Sure. I just wanted to see if I could see anything more. Yeah, we need to do this part. We need to unlock this. Oh, come on, man. Balls. This is not a good one. What the heck is this being engaged for? Okay, I need to... eat. It's 4 energy. Yeah, neutral ain't gonna help us. God damn it. Something we can do. motorcycle. Yeah, no, the game seems interesting, so I'm having good hopes for it. Okay, go. As you're gliding across the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voices cut through the conversation drifting out to the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab at the bag slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way this looks, but then again, instead of being told to keep your head down, God, this is my... Okay, cause a distraction. Come on, please. Oh, check pass. Oh, thank God. Look around for something that could break up the fight. You see a thick cooling pipes running down the alley wall. Quickly try to understand the system and choose the valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent in sequence down the alley. Violent jets randomly bursting into the air. There's a scramble in the alley and you spot the figure who was being attacked drop down to the alley floor. Then your vision instantly fills with pale liquid as a jet of coolant jumps out nearby, missing you but sending you spinning in 0G. For a few moments you manage to steady yourself. As you do, you see a clear alley, the assailants having fled, with one figure gliding towards you. Femi, I suppose you think that was clever. The man gives you a severe look. You look like to break up fights you didn't start? He laughs. Bell's gonna eat you up. Shifts the large bags on his shoulder, weightless but unwieldy in 0G. Well, I was helping. The man laughs. Well, he shakes his head. Thanks, I guess. He kicks off and drifts past you. You watch the man go, and then after a moment he stops and turns back. He rubs his forehead, looking down as he does. What is your deal anyway? He sighs. Maybe you're new here, but Hexport is no place for do-gooders. I need help. The man raises his eyebrows. So you look for trouble? He shakes his head. You got it all wrong. Look. Let's not hang around, alright? The man pats his chest. I'm Femi. He unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you. Make yourself useful. Let's head. You get the strap of the bag over your shoulder and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. He gets down on the side passage, looking back to check you're following, and he stops at a docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. You look at the viewing window at its odd catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate hulls welded together. Symbol crash, he says, and you assume that's the ship's name. Femi, you bringing in strays? A young woman, brightly dressed and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. He glances at you. No offense. Nia, huh? Nia. Femi shakes his head. This one. He squeezes your shoulder. Help me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself. Nia raises an eyebrows. I'm sure you could handle them, big brother. Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can't tell if Femi noticed. Nia turns to you. Thanks. He smiles sweetly. And I'm sorry for my brother. He shoots him a glance. Just in general. Yeah, Femi murmurs. Enough now. He reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Nia rolls her eyes at you, but stays silent. Factory Row wouldn't take these. Femi hefts the bags. I'm gonna load them back up. Maybe we'll find use for them. He turns back to you. Thanks for the assist, Sleeper. He nods firmly. Not what I expected. He slaps the button for the bridge door and kicks off along the docking bridge on his way to the symbol crash. Nia looks at you with raised eyebrows. I hope my brother was joking, but did you really help him? It was nothing. Humble and a hero, he laughs. Thank you. She looks back at the ship. My brother needs help more than he admits. It's okay. She pauses thinking. I want to ask you something. She takes a deep breath and gives you a direct look. What is she building up to? Are you looking for a crew? He looks away. Sorry to be direct, but you seem like, well, if you're on Hexport, maybe you're with a crew. She stops herself. I mean, maybe your crew needs crew? Maybe you're looking? Why do you ask? Nia looks back at the ship, then at you. Look, I'll be honest, being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me. He frowns at her own bluntness. I'm not a kid anymore, you know, but he still sees me like one. She shrugs. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts. He gives you a determined look. What do you say? What the heck can she do then? Shouldn't I ask you, brother? I'll think about it. I'm a good savager, alright? You can use me. He smiles. I can spot things, find gaps, ways in. She folds her arms across his chest. I know what I'm doing. Jimmy taught me well. He glances back at the ship. Just consider it, alright? Let me prove myself. Suddenly a shout comes from the ship echoing down the passage. Demi, he makes both of you nervous. Mia looks in his direction. I should go. She pushes herself towards the docker bridge. I'll be waiting. Nia gives you one last glance as she departs and disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. You got an upgrade point. Oh, what the heck is this now? Welcome to the character screen. Here you can upgrade and configure your sleeper. On the left you can upgrade your skills to improve the skill modifier applied to your dice when you undertake an action. To the right you can upgrade your push, the unique ability of your class. When upgrading your push, only one upgrade at each level can be active at once. You can configure which upgrade is active only while at the hub. Okay. Why is there a 4 here? Two. We got 1 point available. Engage is a skill we won't even be able to get at all in this one. get endure. Nice to have. Okay, so that means it needs 4 skill points then. And these need 2 skill points. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So we need fuel. Let's fill up our fuel so we have it, because we're gonna need it, right? We need 2 supplies there, so supplies are a little bit more expensive. Okay, we need to do some job work here. What's this then? Risky endure. It costs 4 points though? I like the first one. It's just different. It takes time just to learn how everything works. And he has, you know, there's so many different outcomes out of it and stuff in the game. So I got one ending, but there is several others, I assume, because you can do so many different things. This one can get 50, but Good job, game. So we're gonna go for let's do we need to buy supplies. Yeah. I just wonder if I need points when we get to the place or not. Let's say we go to the map. But how do I get well, let's go. See what happens. It's a drone. Seraphim spots the signal source first. The light barely shimmering off its dark hull plating. A design trait that betrays its covert use. Borrow items from everybody and everything. If there's witnesses, they won't. What witnesses? There won't be any witnesses. None alive, at least. A flash catches your attention. You see a rent in the hull, through which red lights pulse. Wounded. Seraphim shakes his head. Wish they had finished the job. You've seen this one. You've seen one before? Seraphim looks back over his shoulder towards you. We have seen one before, don't you? He sighs. Sorry, I know it isn't your fault. He looks at the drone. Lane had us work on one in Darkside Bay, though it was barely a shell. Disarmed and deactivated. He had us searching through its guts for salvage. Even that one gave me the creeps, and it had its core ripped out. Pushes his ship closer. This one is still alive. Well, that's a good thing, but you know, you can always save before you do your naughty stuff. But you said there won't be difficulty settings in it. That's kind of weird, though. I thought it would at least be, you know, an easy, normal, or hard. The hardcore death one where you die comes later on. That I don't mind, but... Conway, Nia kisses her teeth. Corporate scum. Glance over at her and see the fire in her bright eyes. They don't even dare to come here and force us out themselves. It's all proxies and drones. She shakes her head. Typical core-bred cowards. Run into them before? He glances at you. You might say that. He looks out to the drone. You won't see me taking my eyes off that thing for a second. Seraphine carefully guides the ship closer. You watch the drone. System is full of those things now. Running missions for the operators. Rare to see one out in the belt though. Maybe got hit during a run-in with a Senate stat Mercs. Looks like it's drifting. Most of the systems blown out. But look here. Jabs a finger towards a red light on the far side of the drone. It's still broadcasting, and maybe even receiving. Can it attack us? Unlikely, Seraphine smiles. With a blaster as ready if it could. Comforting, Neva looks nervous. Seraphine brings you even ever closer. What I remember from the dark side job is that the central core and the broadcast array need to be shut off to kill these things. Core will turn off local systems and the broadcast array will sever the link with the Conway operators. Seraphine swallows. But you can bet those systems are protected. Let Seraphine explain. Your attention is suddenly drawn by a shudder from the drone, like a tremor running along its length. This thing is rigged to blow, Sleeper, he frowns. It goes slow and careful, and we don't touch anything we don't know about. He turns back to Nia. You hear that? I got you. She looks sincere. Seraphine brings the rig to a stop close enough for you to cross through open space to reach the drone's hull. Let's suit up. You head down to the airlock to prepare. As you get suited up, you think of the corporate war taking place in the inner system. The war that this drone was driven from. Out here, on the shore of the conflict, the biggest danger is that this flotsam and jetsam drifting in with the tides and orbits of the system might, one cycle, bring the war with it. For now, the belt is outside of its reach, but looking out at the red pulsing drone, that doesn't give you much comfort. Okay, okay, they also have dices. Okay. Welcome to your first contract. Well, on a contract you'll be able to assign 2 dice for each crew member as you would assign your own dice. Pay attention to your crew's skills to use them effectively. On certain outcomes, crew will take crew stress. When the stress is full, you will no longer be able to use them to perform actions. While on a contract, your energy bar will automatically be supplied for each cycle that you have available supplies. When your supplies are depleted, both you and your crew will take 1 stress per cycle. Contracts also have their own contract stress. When this bar is filled, the contract will fail. Good luck. Yeah. Okay, so she needs that. What? Oh. So let's see here then. Hmm. So, oops. This is a bit... God damn it, this is like 50-50 chance. Come on! You gain some stress. As you stress increases, you will have a higher chance of taking damage to your action dice each time you roll them. Okay, we need to go out. Need to relieve stress. No? Can't do anything right now. You've taken damage to a dice because of stress. When you dice roll at the start of cycling, you stress takes if you take damage now. What a bollocks. Okay, and let's take this one. We should be done. This one. You hear the bleeping immediately. Among the chambers and cabling of the drone's interior, something has started counting down. Guys? Neo's voice comes hissing through the suit's comm channel. Does anyone else hear that? Because I'm getting nervous. Shit! Seraphine's voice joins her. This is what I was worried about. I'm screwed? Can't be sure. Seraphine has dropped his voice to a whisper as if it might make a difference. But this thing is about to send out a distress call or it's about to blow. We got to shut this system down fast. He pauses. Then we move on to the other side because I bet you there's a surprise waiting for us there too. We good? Nia sounds tense. Am I heading back to the ship or what? Seraphine cuts in. We're good. We keep going. He shuts off the channel. Take a moment in the silence. Alright, time to deal with this fast and get over to the other side before something happens. On a corner, you can use the push ability to give you an edge in a tricky situation. Pushing accrues one stress but will give you a key advantage based on your chosen class. You can see your current push configuration if you hold your mouse over the button and on the character screen. Your push can be upgraded and configured in the character screen when it's not on a contract. Yeah, well, +2 ain't gonna help me anything. Such a shitty output, man. Nice work, sleeper. Okay. Yeah, I can't do that one with these. It's too low dices, man. Oh, this is a risk, though. I mean, it can work, but it can also bite me in the ass, this. Thing is, I can't use... Yeah, I can use him here. I better wait the cycle. Be on the safe side. Got such shit dices, man. What the heck? Okay, that's one thing done. gonna have to wait one more round. Have such shit dices. Yeah, well, not all games are for everybody, you know? There we go. Oh, we need to do one more thing. Yeah, oh god damn it, we're almost out of that food. God damn it. I mean, I could gamble. Come on. Oof. The thrumming, pulsing interior of the drone goes still for the first time since you boarded it. You look across at Seraphine and Nia and share a smile. You all exhale so loudly it can be heard over the suit's shared comm channel. The drone is dead. One less piece of Conway shit to worry about, Nia grins. We kill it. Don't get too excited, Seraphine cuts in. It was looking pretty rough when we got here. You make your way back out to the hull, the drone now faintly rolling in one direction. Its stabilizers offline. Nia catches up with you as you glide towards the rig. We make a pretty good crew, Sleeper. We do. Nia grins wildly. She punches you on the arm playfully. You reach the rig's airlock and take one last look at the drone's dark hull. It catches the light as it rolls in the vacuum. At some point in the near future, this drone will likely be smashed to pieces by one of the many asteroids of the belt. Spread across this place is twinkling dust. The thought pleases you. As does the thought of all the cryo hexport now owes you. Time to go collect. The contract is now concluded. You can leave via the map. Yeah, leave. After docking hexport, Seraphine lets go of the controls and leans back in her chair. Nia leans over to you. Thank you, Sleeper. She stretches. I know you took a chance on me. Glad to have you. Nia smiles, an infectious smile. Feels good to make a contract work, Seraphine smiles, no matter how we pull it off. It's hard not to agree, and it feels better when the hexport carrier comes with a lockbox full of shits. Lane may still be hunting you, but this should help the effort to slip his nets. Suddenly you hear a familiar voice. Nia! Femi glides into view, approaching from the docks. He fixes you with a stare. What are you playing at, Sleeper? Stay silent. Don't come throwing your weight around, Femi. I can make my own decisions. He glances back at you. Sleeper took me at my word, and I'm grateful. Femi's fuming. Did they now? He turns to you. Well, if you're working for Sleeper, I hope they paid you well. Nia looks away. Well, I asked, so... Femi smiles. Oh, so they aren't paying you. Seraphine crosses his arms. Let's keep this civil. You realize this is the first time he is meeting Femi. If we are being civil, seems like Nia is owed her share. Femi fixes you with a severe look. Hey, Nia, share. You grab around a quarter of the shits from the lockbox and hold them out to Nia. She takes them sheepishly. Alright then, Femi smiles. We're good here. He turns to leave. Nia mouths a sorry and follows Femi across the docks. Seraphine watches him go. You sure know how to pick him, Sleeper. He shakes his head. He turns away and heads back along the docking bricks. I just hope we aren't going to end up a stack of cryo short when we need to get out of here. You just completed a drive and earned an upgrade point. You have push upgrades available. Go to the character screen to the right of the UI to see them. So... Okay, we take this one. Let's see. So to get here now, we need a fuel. That's exactly what we have at the moment. But we're gonna need some supplies. Let's fill our fuel. This as well, and I think there's something else we can do, right? Okay, we can make some, oh yeah, we can do that. We can do some work. Some cash before we go. Let's see what this does. That's okay.